What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 629. Welcome to the year 2025. Happy New Year. I am your host, Stevie V, alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. Happy New Year, Jeremy.
Happy New Year. How's it going?
Really good. Really good. I love ringing in a brand new year. It also gets me excited because my birthday is right after the new year. So we're getting excited for that. I'm going to head to London. Shout out to London listeners. Let me know. Shout me out. I'm going to be in your neck of the woods all next week. So excited about that. Of course, rounding out this beautiful equation in the year 2025 is Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. It's been a wonderful beginning to the year. So we're doing great.
Yeah. How did everyone enjoy their New Year celebration, Jeremy? How did you ring it in?
So mine was funny because we were planning on having a low-key night in. We bought fillets to make with some potatoes and stuff, and we ended up going on a bike ride in the afternoon because the weather was really oddly warm that day. And our bike ride turned into drinking at the local dive bar, friends meeting us there, then more drinks than tacos, and watching the ball drop with like a bunch of friends playing games and stuff. So,
oh my God, I love that. Yeah. Kodi and I were talking about a lot of people were staying in and just being around. Our favorite way to ring in the New Year's with family and friends. We did the same thing here. I had my boyfriend Diego and his friend from Miami in town, and we really slept in. But then when we made our way to find all the ingredients, I cooked up a linguine with, what was it? With scallops and lemon.
Ooh,
and
yum.
It was really delicious. And I made a big salad, and we got desserts. And we just cooked up a storm and played music. Kodi joined us after, to ring in the new year. And that was a lot of fun. And then we made our way to the Eagle for a little late fun. And that was a lot of fun as well. Yeah. And then New Year's Day, I literally was naked the whole day in bed with my boyfriend as we watched one of those British series. Highly recommend on Netflix called Missing You. It's so good. Twists and turns. You'll love it.
Ooh.
And we literally binge watched it in bed the whole New Year's Day, which was so much fun and a great way to ring in the new year. Kodi, I know I saw you for part of it. Yeah. What else did you do? And I know you saw Drag the Musical recently.
I know. So yeah, for New Year's, I worked the beginning part of it, but they let me go before the ball dropped. So I rushed downtown to get my midnight kiss.
Nice.
And then I came. I know, right? It was something I felt like I had to do. So I was like, let me just go ahead and do this and go kiss this boy really quick. But then I met up with you guys. We had drinks at your place. I heard about the scallops, but I didn't have any. But
sorry.
No, it's fine. Well, you're going to make it for me eventually. So I'm okay with it.
Yes. I'm making it for my sister tonight after we record this episode.
I'll be right over.
Yeah, I'm going to perfect it, Kodi. So by the time I make it for the third time, it's going to be like totally perfected.
Perfect. Save the best for last, right?
Yes.
Like Vanessa Williams, girl. And then we went to the Eagle and we had a great time. And it was just the best New Year's I've had in a while, because usually I'm working or it just doesn't feel meet up to the expectations that I put on it. But this one was fantastic. I really enjoyed every piece of it, except for the hangover the next day.
Yeah. Oh, right. Exactly. That's why I was in bed naked for half the day, which was great. And then we went and got empanadas. A shout out to Empanada Mama, which was excellent. My boyfriend's friend was cracking me up because, and I want to know how you would both of you would weigh in on this, if you agree or not. He had a boy that was totally into him, and he was into him as well. And the guy said, let's go home together. The catch was he lived in Brooklyn, and my friend was like, oh, he lives in Brooklyn. I'm like, you're not a New Yorker anymore, so you can't really play that game. And the whole thing was the guy was so hot for my boyfriend's friend that he offered to pay the Uber ride for him to get there
Wow.
and back. So I'm like, what do you have to lose? What were you doing the next day? That he says, no, it was too far. Jeremy, would you go home with this guy just if he lived in Brooklyn and you're in the it's a whole thing here in the city too. If you live here,
I
what borough?
definitely would, depending on the night and how late it was. It's not fun to travel super, super late at night in the city.
Yeah.
And regardless, going to Brooklyn if you're not in Brooklyn already. So I think it depends on the situation and the timing and all of that.
Yeah.
But
I
I mean,
think
it's definitely super generous of the guy to offer for an Uber back and forth because I can only imagine how expensive that is.
he wanted that New Year's Eve treat. Let me
I
tell you. I mean,
mean,
if you're willing to pay for the Uber ride, Kodi, you are trying to seal that deal.
I was in Philly, the Philadelphia area, actually in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and the Uber from the Cherry Hill to Midtown Philadelphia was $50 each way. It would have been
Surge pricing.
$100.
Exactly. We didn't even factor that in. The guy was willing to
Ridiculous.
surge pricing and all that.
Yeah. So if this guy is willing to pay for the Uber, and that will shorten the length of your trip dramatically, especially at a late hour, like Jeremy was saying, I would definitely go
Yeah,
because
I
the
mean,
Uber is half the battle, right?
in this climate, I'm bringing that back. In this climate, with Uber rides and how expensive they can be, I guess it would come down to what are your options, really? Was this guy really super hot for my boyfriend's friend or my new friend, actually, as well? Or did he really think maybe he had better options and maybe
But
he wasn't as into him
he
as.
was in the car with us going back to in the same direction. So what other options does he have?
Yeah, right.
Right?
Exactly. He made up for it a few nights later, though.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
All
don't worry
right.
about him. But
I wasn't
um,
worried. I met him.
yeah, right. Yeah,
He gets his.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is funny when you live in a place like that has boroughs. And of course, we all know how expensive Uber can be during the holidays. And when you're horny and hot, you might just pay for somebody's Uber ride. Let us know how you weigh in on that. Okay, we have a slew of hot topics to get into in this brand new year, and we're just going to roll through them. I had one correction, though, to make that Kodi and I, we thought, and it was a dear listener of ours, Patrick, wanted us to make the correction that Attitude Magazine still is in existence. I think one of
Oh.
us maybe said that we thought it was out of print. And not only is it online out of the UK, which I'm going to go there next week, it is in print as well. So we love it when you make corrections for us, and check out Attitude Magazine online. I'm going to try and nab a copy of it when I'm in London next week as well, because I still miss those paper magazines, those really glossy ones. And we loved Attitude. So okay, moving on. How did other people ring in the new year? Well, Diplo, of all people. So we had on CNN with Anderson Cooper and Andy Cohen just to see the ball drop and, have sort of a time stamp on when the new year came in. And one of the people that they both interviewed was Diplo, who was at his residency, I believe, in Vegas. And how did he ring in? Well, one of the things I thought was so funny during that interview was he admitted he was high on LSD.
I saw that.
It was crazy. And
What?
leave it to Andy Cohen to get it out of him. Apparently, he microdoses it. So he didn't seem like he was out of control. But I believe it was one of the two, Andy or Anderson, I'm not sure, said we should maybe note that this is an illegal substance. So before you're going to try this, it's not necessarily recommended. We're not endorsing this, but he was high on LSD. But he also decided to show on his Instagram account to ring in he wrote, quote, "me at midnight, 3 men kissing video." And it was 3 gay men that are known within the OnlyFans porn community, known as Spencer Stewart, Braxton Stone, and also I believe they got Drake Vaughn. Drake Vaughn. Do you guys know Drake Vaughn with the huge cock who has over 1.3 million followers on X?
Googling now.
Yeah, look up Drake Vaughn XXX, and he decided to post me at showing these three gay guys,
Oh,
and
I've
it's
seen
not.
him on TikTok before.
Yes, exactly, and I guess he's no stranger. I'm talking about Diplo again to talking about his sexuality. In 2014, he participated in a Reddit AMA and answered a question about whether he was gay. He says, "Everyone's a little gay," he replied. And in 2018, he appeared in a passionate kissing scene with drag queen Pablo Vittar for her entire. Entire Vibe music video. And in 2023, he famously told Emily Ratajkowski on her High Low podcast that he's not gay, adding that he has received oral sex from another man before. He's currently touring. He's on fire. What do you think of Diplo and just his interesting style? And do you want more of Diplo in 2025, Jeremy?
I think he's cool, and I think it's awesome that he like admitted that he was partying and having fun on New Year's. And yeah, I think his sets look like they're so much fun wherever he DJs and performs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it. And I want to see more. Well, how do you weigh in on Diplo? How we rung in the new year? Anything thoughts, Kodi?
Yeah, as long as they're responsible, I'm with it. So, and don't get crazy. So,
Yeah.
he's fine with me. He's microdosing. He's having a good time. He's enjoying life. That's what life is all about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, we had to talk about the moving on to the Golden Globes that were occurred just last night as we record this on a Monday night, and there was a lot of winners. Demi Moore, though, won for The Substance, and it's a movie I've been talking about on this show since I saw it in last, I believe it was November. So interesting, and she's so good in it. And I'm so glad she got her dues for winning it. She looked gorgeous. What did you think of her dress, Jeremy, and how she looked?
I loved it. I loved all the styling. I loved her speech. I think she's great.
Yeah, I think I'm so happy. She basically made a speech about how, after being so popular in the 80s and 90s, she kind of got to a point where people put her in a box that she can only do certain types of films and she wasn't allowed to be really creative. And now, after all of these years, she's allowed to like really make interesting film and it's what she really loves. And so I was really happy for her. And because I really loved this thought-provoking film called The Substance. But there was an interesting thing that when she was out thanking Elle Fanning and the table that had a lot of people at it, a lot of people were accused her of giving Kylie Jenner the cold shoulder, snubbing her. What I don't think it really went down that way. I think she just doesn't know who the Kardashians really are. She doesn't know who Kylie Jenner is. But a lot of people were coming for her, and some people were like, not everybody is into the Kardashians. And so maybe she just didn't know. I don't think she was really trying to snub. She released a statement later that she said she was really going to say hug Elle Fanning. If you look at the video, it does maybe look like she's kind of ignoring Kylie Jenner. But I don't know, Jeremy, you're probably a Kylie Jenner fan. How do you weigh in on this?
I just think it's not that serious, and I'm sure she didn't like do it intentionally because she seems genuinely very nice. And
Yeah.
I think that also, I mean, imagine winning an award that you weren't expecting to win. It's your first time winning. Like, I think that there are bigger fish to fry and like more important things to worry about than her acknowledging every single person that was in that room.
Exactly. I agree. You're probably like beside yourself. I mean, how do you weigh in? Because she did hug Kodi, Timothy Chalamet, who, as we know, is really tight and the boyfriend of
Oh,
Kylie.
that's
So she
right.
did make a thing. How do you weigh in on this?
I just watched the video. It looks like she's completely ignoring her. It does, but
We're gonna
Wow.
give her a
Okay.
pass, but
We're
yeah.
gonna give her a pass though, and we're gonna just say that she probably didn't. She's in the moment, right? So
Yeah.
she is doing all the things. She probably it didn't register that Kylie was there. That was funny though. I watched it.
Yeah, right.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Demi, she seems like a very nice person, so I can't imagine her doing that on purpose. So
No,
yeah.
I don't think so either. I think she was like beside herself and in that moment where you are just like, I see a face, I'm going to that. And she, like
Yeah.
Jeremy said, I don't think she thought she was going to win. And so it was a breakthrough moment for her. But, the internet's got to talk and we're
Yeah.
here for it.
But we've all done it before. We've
Oh,
all
yeah.
been a place and then accidentally did something that,
Oh,
snubbed somebody, forgot
please. If
somebody's
people had
name.
cameras on me, it would be
Girl.
awful.
So let's give her some grace.
Yeah, we will. Absolutely. Well, sadly, we have to report on this. A couple of sad notes here. The queer community was left reeling over the death of Drag Race UK icon, the Vivian, at the age of 32. And I think you might be able to speak a little bit more on this, Kodi, because you're such a fan. But as I understand it, the Vivian, was she a winner of UK Drag Race?
hmm
And did she also struggle with substance abuse throughout her life?
I don't know about her substance abuse. She probably spoke on it on
She
Drag
did.
Race.
Yeah, I saw it.
And
Yeah, that's true. She did.
yeah, but she is the winner of the first season of Drag Race UK. She was fantastic. She overcame so many struggles. She came and did All Stars here, the All Winter season, and she was just amazing. She was such a ray of light. I've seen so many posts about her. The drag show that I went to last night, the drag musical on Broadway,
Off
Alaska,
Broadway.
off Broadway. It shouted out to her, and it was she's going to be missed. People, so many people loved her. So many people were inspired by her, and it's really sad, especially at 32, for this to happen
Yeah.
to somebody. So I say, go out there and fuck all the people you want to fuck. Have a good time and live your best life.
Yeah, it was sad too. I know. Rest in power, the
Yeah.
Vivian. Absolutely. Staying on Drag Race, I just watched the premiere of season 17 and I'm really into it. And my boyfriend, believe it or not, who is really into drag. In fact, we saw Drag the Musical. And he's never watched an episode of Drag Race before. And so
Really?
we sat down and we watched it together. It's kind of a fun thing to watch with your partner as well, because you're just like kind of screaming at the screen and it's just fun. And I'm into it so far, but I got to ask Jeremy because I know you are a newbie-ish to Drag Race. Did you watch the premiere?
Yes, I did. I loved it.
Very good, right?
Yeah, it was very fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a good season.
I also like the diversity of the contestants. Like, I feel like they got a good mix of people this time around.
Definitely.
I thought that too. Kodi, I'm curious to know what you think as our aficionado for all things Drag Race. One thing that when you introduce somebody to it, my boyfriend he pointed out that everybody seems so young. And I said, well, in years past, I haven't seen every single season. There have been various ages, but do you think it skews a little younger in its current season 17?
Yeah, that's one of the things because I might be obsessive compulsive or have an addiction to Drag Race because I watch Meet the Queens or an interview that they had before the actual show came out, and everybody was talking about how young the cast is. I think one of the oldest queens is 32 or something like that, around in their mid 30s, and like you were saying, every other season, as far as I can remember, has had older queens, maybe like 40s. There's been queens that have been 50 that have been on there. So it really is a shocker to me personally that there aren't any older queens there. Everybody is so young, and it just goes to show you that this generation grew up with this. So I think it's a really positive thing. But they could have let an older queen in there.
I think so. Yeah. So interesting how the casting is. They do make way for more diversity, like you all have stated. And I think with the trans community having a bigger role in drag or really anybody, I think it's positive. But yeah, let's not let's not leave our aging queens behind as well. So, we'll see. But I'm excited for this season, and
Me
it's going to be
too.
fun to watch with my boyfriend, and I'm excited. Well, sadly, Vanessa Williams just lost her mother, and
Oh
I say
no.
this because she's so close to her. She was always been so close to her mother. I had tickets to see Devil Wears Prada the musical on the West End in London next week, and she postponed several of her concerts, obviously because she just lost her mother. And fortunately, we're able to reschedule, and I will see when she comes back on the day she comes back on Thursday, January 16th, when she reprises her role as Miranda Priestley in the Devil Wears Prada musical. But it was my heart goes out to, because I know anytime anyone loses their mother, and especially somebody that was so close to their mom. Her mom really was one of the reasons. She was a music teacher, Helen Williams, and she really pushed her children to be the iconic children that they are. I mean, Vanessa is just I remember interviewing Vanessa, and I said, "You're a triple threat, singer, dancer, actress," and she acknowledged that. And I just think, when you lose a mom, and especially a mom like Helen Williams, it's tragic in many ways. And our hearts and prayers go out to Vanessa Williams at this time, especially when her mother was in London at this time, really in seemingly good health. And, she died at 85. So may she rest in power as well. And our thoughts and prayers go out to Vanessa Williams during this
Yes.
challenging time. Absolutely. So, okay, let's get into a slew of hot topics there's so much going on right now. And I wanted to start with, okay, gay men have been talking online and are actually celebrating one big advantage that they think we have over straight men. What do you think that thing is? Do you have an idea what it is, Jeremy?
No, I'm not sure.
How about you, Kodi?
No kids.
Oh, that's a good guess, but it's the fact that we have sex quicker than straight men have with their counterparts. And the discussion came online. Do you feel sorry for how hard straight guys have to work for sex? Where one gay guy asked his fellow queer men that titular question. Quote, "I was out for a Christmas get together in another city with some old college friends, all male, all straight except me, and a couple of them were complaining about going through a dry spell and how frustrated they were going on endless dates that never went anywhere and never ended in sex, and how much money it was costing them," the poster explained. "I'd never really thought about it before, as sex has been so insanely accessible to me ever since I came out." He continued, musing on his own relationship with hookup apps. "I never really stopped to think that a lot of straight guys can't get laid whenever they want and have to go through a lot of effort to make it happen a lot of the time." And that is true. That is probably one of our superpowers, too. We get, in general, I will say this, we get sex over with early on before we decide if we even want to go on a date with many of our partners. I know I had sex with my boyfriend several times before I really was getting to know him a little bit more and realized, like, actually, you're pretty interesting. And here we are. We kind of work backwards. And I think it's kind of a superpower of ours. I don't know, Jeremy. What do you think? Do you think we have one over on the straight men?
I wouldn't say one over on them. I don't really feel bad, but I would say it's definitely very different. And
Yeah.
obviously, I think there's more emotions tied to it than gay men consider when having sex.
Yeah, right. It's a positive thing, I think, in many ways, because sex is very important to many. Sex is important to all of us, I think,
Mm-hmm.
as a humanity. But for us in general, gay men, just speaking for us, it can be very, we're gay men that sexuality is built into being gay. And there's a lot of emphasis on when you come out on sex and what position. I haven't even gotten into what position and role you play in and who's going to be the top and the bottom. is the ultimate question, but there's a lot of things in between that go into it. And sometimes it could actually be, I would say, our detriment too. Maybe there's too much emphasis and not enough on will we actually get along and how will we do on the long run. I don't know, Kodi, how do you weigh in? Should we be celebrating that we have won over straight men?
I don't think we have one over straight men. I think I think if a straight man really wanted to go out and have sex, they could approach it like a gay man. So I don't feel bad for them. I don't, because there are women out there that want to have sex. So all they have to do is go out and look for that specifically. Like you guys were saying, I do think it's like a balancing act as far as gay men in respect to straight men, because like you both were saying, if it's easier for us to go out and have sex, then the flip side of that is they have an advantage as well, whereas they probably have more long lasting relationships. That's a question mark on the end of that
Oh,
sentence.
you're saying they might have more long lasting relationships than
Exactly.
the gays.
Than the gays do.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's a trade off, really, at the end of the day.
It is.
None of that is researched. None of that is
no, it's
factual. It's all just my hypothesis.
It's a good conversation to have, because I think it's interesting how we approach sex really is important in many ways. And that's why I think a lot of our relationships often move into, let's say, open relationships, whether that means don't ask, don't tell, I'm going to have sex, when you're not here, or we're going to bring in a third. We are more open to sex and how we have sex. And some might say it's evolved, but are we potentially, sometimes overlooking the actual meat of the relationship, which we're not always in bed together or, doing it. So yeah, I love the conversation though on that, looking at our differences. At the end of the day, we're all human, and it's a fun question to ask. Okay.
Definitely.
Here's another question that the gays were asking. It's all about that in the new year. This one, I think I know how you're all going to handle it. How do you handle your bestie? Okay, your bestie's a girl dating a homophobe. Oh no. Homophobic people are, they're there. And that's why one gay man took to Reddit to ask his fellow gays for advice. Here's the question. My best friend, woman, straight, of 25 years, finally found someone she likes and adores. I am happy for her, he wrote. It may sound like a fairy tale, but there's a catch. Around 10 dates into their relationship, the bestie's beau dropped the bomb that he hates gay people. He wishes for gay people to not exist and will never be friends or associate themselves with one, the poster relayed.
Yikes.
The bestie reportedly reacted with the tried and true refrain of, my best friend is gay, to which he said, that doesn't make me change my mind. I don't know, in this day and age, you guys, it's 2025. Jeremy, if your friend, she's married now, but I know you have a lot of, and I'm getting producer Vivian over here is putting her thumb down, like, get rid of them.
She's a good sister and a good friend.
She's a good sister, a good friend, and a great ally. Absolutely not. Jeremy, how would you?
I completely agree. It's an absolutely no for me. So I think that when I remember back to when my best friend was dating and first meeting someone, she introduced him to me like very early on, and we traveled together, and so we got to know each other. And he's a detective in a very like, I don't know, heterosexual job and background and everything. And he was super comfortable with me, and there was no like red flags or any of that. And so I think that if that was the case, I would be like telling my girlfriend I'm not here for it. And I mean, I think that she should be able to, or not, it doesn't have to be a she, but whoever your best friend is, I think that they should be able to decipher, is it good for them and does it work for like the people that matter to them? Because I feel like you come before the person that they're starting to date or getting to know, and you have history with them, and you're only going to make more memories together. So if you don't fit into the mix of that because of their partner that they're newly with, I think that is a problem in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 2025, and gay is not like you're you committed a crime. It should not be at all. That would be a deal breaker, I think, for many people. I
And
don't.
I also feel like if I've always kind of had the feeling that if someone is really so staunch homophobic that they're usually a closet case and
Oop.
just not comfortable with their own sexuality, and I think that's what makes them so uncomfortable with someone being free and open-minded about their themselves.
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, what do you fucking care? I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
not your life, it's love. And why are you so passionately homophobic? And wouldn't you then want to, hey, I would be okay if somebody said, listen, I've never been around a gay person before. I never known anybody to be gay. I've had certain feelings towards that, but I'm totally open to getting to know and with you in this relationship, maybe you can help me open my mind up more. I would be willing to be even the guinea pig to open that person's mind up, but not with such a staunch and using the word hatred and
That's
hate.
me.
Yeah.
That's where I'm hung up on. Hate. If we take the gay out of it and just talked about the hating of any group at all, like I hate black people, I hate Latino people. That's just wild for somebody to fix their mouth to say something like that. And it's definitely a red flag because if you have children with this person and one of them, your child turns out to be gay, how do you think that your husband is going
Oh,
to
good point.
treat your child? It's
When
ridiculous.
we all
Yeah.
know
And
stories
I
about
cannot
that.
imagine. So it's a red flag. It's a no go. Flee from this man, please. My sister, we don't always get along, right? But she loves me and she would defend me to anybody, any homophobe, 10 toes down. She would always stand up for me. So this is just ridiculous. And if she can't, your friend can't see that this is not the person for her and she won't defend you, then she's not really your friend.
Yeah, I really, I mean, I just think we're too late in the game now. It's a new year to hear that. I can't imagine that any girlfriend would then still want to even be with this guy because it will probably parlay into other areas that they have hatred. Like, how are they treating the waiter, by the way, or the server? How are they treating the flight attendant? And you bring up a great point about children too. They're probably the first people that are going to want to do, what are those parties that you do to determine the,
Gender reveal.
oh, can't stand those parties, don't even get me started. Yeah,
I
all
was
that.
like, parties. The first, you don't want to know what the first things that came to my mind. I was like,
Yeah.
swingers party. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
okay.
my
No
god.
gender.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not a fan of those, but yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, we love giving advice on this show, and there's some interesting. I really chose these three because I thought we'll get into the sex on the last one, but the first one, is it wrong to not invite a couple that didn't invite us to their wedding? So they wrote, I'm a part of an amazing and unique chosen family. So they're basically in a fraternity, a group of 30 plus close friends who originally bonded through the fraternity. And over the years, they've stayed tight and even their lives have evolved. And among us, there are 5 gay couples, my partner and I included, is the writer, with significant others who weren't in the fraternity. And while the rest of the group is straight men and their wife, fiance, girlfriends, it is a truly inclusive and supportive circle, and I feel incredibly lucky to have them in my life. Here's the drama. Years ago, one of my closest friends in the group got married. He was someone I introduced to the fraternity and considered a brother. But leading up to his wedding, we had a falling out. He and his wife invited every single person in our group except me and my partner. His
Wow.
then girlfriend, now wife, didn't like me because I knew about some of his cheating in the past.
Oop.
And true to bro code, I kept his secret. That caused tension. And when the fallout happened, it hit hard. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward. We've mended things, so things are going well. Well, now this guy writing it is about to get married and is about to send out invitations to this whole group. His question and conundrum is, should he invite that particular couple? Would it be wrong not to invite them, he says, given our history, even though we're cool? How can I handle this situation in a way that doesn't reopen old wounds or disrupt the balance of our group? Oh, I just got to tell you, it's going to totally disrupt it if you don't
Well, no
invite
matter
them.
what you do.
Yeah, this is why I never joined a fraternity. This is why I don't have huge, groups of friends like this, because it's like, oh my God, this is where the drama ensues. And it's hard enough to just maintain friendships as it is, just your close knit group. But Jeremy, how do you weigh in? Should he invite this couple or not?
I say just invite them.
Really?
I think it's a little like nitpicky to hold on to the past and not move forward. And I also think that if you want to
Maintain.
stay in good graces and
Yeah.
maintain like being in a good spot with them, then why not invite them? And also, you have to remember weddings are not really intimate like nights where you spend a lot of quality time with any of the guests. It's very like almost like a show for you and your significant other for the night of like celebrating and hi, here we are. And like I just feel like it's not super personal that it would affect you if there are two people there that you are questionable about inviting. I just feel like it would be easier to just invite them and not stir up tons of drama and just make it like going backwards rather than moving forward. And I also think it might be good energy towards your relationship and like a um, positive decision to make together.
Yeah, I agree with you in many ways that it's always good to, if you're going to stay in this group, which it sounds like he is, how can it not get back to that one couple that they weren't invited? They're going to see the social media. They're going to know when they talk to the rest of the group that they were the chosen group that were not invited to this one. So if you want to continue this fraternity like, group friendship thing, you kind of should just send the invitation. And you bring up some great points too, that you don't have to talk to them the whole night, but it'll be a nice gesture. And maybe you guys can move forward and forget about all that past stuff and be the bigger couple that actually did invite them. And they'll get the note that, ooh, we didn't invite them, but they invited us. Won't that seem like the bigger couple decision, Kodi?
Oh, definitely. I agree with you guys 100%. I think if you're going to forgive somebody, if you have a disagreement, you have to forgive them with your whole heart. You can't really hold on to some animosity because that's just going to taint your relationship later down the road. And if they look at it this way, look at it this way. If you didn't get invited to the wedding, then you didn't have to bring a gift. If you invite them to yours, you get a gift and then you're one up on there.
Ooh,
So why turn down gifts for your wedding? Have more, the
right.
more the merrier.
Yeah, exactly. It gets dicey with all those things. And I know that I just think they're too tight and right in this situation that they've allowed themselves to create. And it will really send a negative message if they don't invite them. So, yeah. Okay. Moving on to more advice. This one is, what do you guys think about always staying home? I've noticed, I think this person is of a certain particular age, I believe, based on the way they wrote it. I've noticed folks in my age group, and they don't mention the age group, but I'm going to assume it's a little bit older, always mentioning how they'd prefer to stay home and watch Netflix or literally anything but going out and doing something else. It's often, I don't like people, or I'm old and I prefer to be in bed early, or I just want to stay in my sweats. Men and women in my life don't seem to have any interest in leaving their homes and doing much of anything besides rotting on the couch. Oh, geez. I'm an
Ooh.
introvert, so I get socializing 24/7 is exhausting. I've never wanted to do that, but to get a group of people together to get dressed up, have a nice dinner, see a show, or go to a bar or something just seems like it's too much effort. Oh, he needs to put himself in my my fabulous shoes for a day and no. He says it's silly, I know. I guess I just miss things feeling like a special occasion, like there was something exciting to look forward to. He wants to know, what's your take, guys? Do we not do special occasions anymore? Has the magic disappeared, Jeremy?
I don't think it's disappeared at all. I think it is a matter of being able to plan. And I feel like
Yes.
if you're not able to plan and do things ahead or in advance to let people know and make time for it, then that makes it kind of lackluster. And also, usually that's when plans fall through, as if it's like very last minute or day of or a few hours before. And I think any little get together can be fun. And I mean, for example, like having your friends over for brunch and just having a few bottles of champagne and like making breakfast on the spot. I think it doesn't have to be so contrived and planned weeks in advance to have a good time.
I 100% agree with you. Well, you're talking to a 100% planner over here. And my boyfriend always says, "Oh my God, you're such a planner." And I'm like, right, because if I didn't plan, we wouldn't do half the stuff we do. And most of the time, most of my time is planning. I have to remind myself all the time to be in the moment and live what it is that I actually planned. But I think you're right. You can make a special moment. It doesn't have to be extravagant. I love the idea of a brunch moment that you mentioned. I often do just a small group of people and make fun cocktails, put on some music that I love, and we have great conversation. And those are the moments that you cherish and you carry on with you. Those are the moments that live in your mind that you say, yeah, this is why I am friends with these people. I mean, I have some friends I'm thinking of two in particular that are fashionistas. One's a woman, one's a guy, and they give me inspiration to want to step up whatever look I'm putting together because one works in fashion and the other one she just is fashion. And I love that. I love that they challenge me to get my act together to want to put on a look. Fashion, a lot of people down. That's why I'm going to see the Devil Wears Prada musical and what that movie represented. People downplay fashion, and fashion really is a mode, a mood. It puts you in a good mood, it puts you in a diva mood. And that's what life's. If you can't have any of those things, I don't want to live in this life. So I don't know, Kodi. How do you weigh in?
I agree with you guys, but I think that this guy probably needs to find new friends. I'm not saying get rid of the old friends, but I'm saying find people that are more aligned with what you want to do out there in the world. There are social groups out there because definitely the magic hasn't left. I'm a party boy. I know everyone that's on this call likes to go out and do things and experience life. And uh, while you are making the new friends, I think that you can also find things to do with your old friends as well. If they like to Netflix and chill, have a Netflix night, make it special, dress up to watch something on Netflix, have champagne while you do it. I don't know, but find something that you can do in order to make things special with your old friends, and then find new friends to have new experiences with. That's my advice.
Great advice. And since we're a sex progressive podcast, I've met some people that have naked game night, naked
Ooh.
movie night. And you can also have a core group of people where you can have a kinky, fun. You don't have to have sex necessarily. You can. It could lead into that. But you can also just have, if you're into being naked, you can have naked game night, naked movie night. And there's all sorts of ways to do it. It's also good on your budget as well too, but
You
there's
don't have
you
to have
gotta,
clothes for a naked game
yeah.
night.
And well, yeah, well, while we all love a Netflix night in, I just talked about it earlier in the show, you got to push yourself to get out there too. And it doesn't mean you have to get all dressed up, but you got to get excited about, there's so much exciting life to live, whether it's traveling, a show to see. I mean, so many great, we talk about them all the time, live theater out there with some people within our community. And it's really, I mean, that's what gets me excited. Just and people to meet. I love meeting people too. And so get out there is our advice, and don't be afraid to. Okay. And lastly, somebody else wrote in, new to being a vocal top. What do they mean by that? Switch from being a bottom to being a top because I finally accepted I never liked bottoming and only did it because I have a softer, gentle personality that pushed me into more bottoming situations. As I'm learning to top and attempt to be a dominant, even with a more gentle demeanor, okay, blouse, I'm finding it I'm finding it weird or unnatural to be vocal. Does anyone else feel like they're just performing, vocalizing while topping? Does it eventually get easier for those of you who aren't naturally dominant in bed to be dominant and vocal and dirty talk? Well, I'm going to answer that real quick. And the answer is yes, because I was known for so many years. While I could top here and there, I was pretty much more in the bottom category. And it's been with my recent boyfriend that we've switched roles. He actually was more at the bottom one before he met me, and we just flipped it, which was great. And I definitely, I mean, hello, I'm definitely a vocal top. I run a podcast here where I'm vocal. So if I'm not vocal in the bedroom, there's a problem, people.
Wait, are you vocal topping us in the moment right now?
Am I mansplaining, or
No.
my sister says vagsplaining or cocksplaining? Okay, yeah, I'm
Oh,
cocksplaining. Yeah,
I want to try that.
right. Yeah, I mean, I am a little bit, I guess, and dirty talk, all of that. It, I think, when you're really into the person, even if you're, well, if you're in love with the person, it's easy to kind of find what their thing is into. Just find that thing that gets them going. And you'll, believe me, you'll find it. There's a reason why you fell in love with them, and go with that. If it's somebody new, try different things, because chances are they took you home. Maybe they didn't pay for your Uber ride home, but hey, they brought you home. So that's your template to try out all these dirty talk and see what works, and just create it like a forum to really try out these things. I don't know, Jeremy, he's new to being a vocal top. What's your advice to him?
I would say keep it organic and don't think too much about it, because I think that when you get in your head, that's when it starts to turn you off, or you are like you underperform because you're really in your head thinking about what I should be doing or what I shouldn't do. And I think just vibe off of the other person and keep it natural and organic, and think less about it and more about just enjoying the person that you're with.
I want to propose for 2025, based on what you said, and I'm taking this advice as well, is let's all get out of our head a little bit this year. Because I think the more we stay in our head is when we really create extra drama that we don't need. And I'm taking
Yeah,
that advice
totally.
for myself as well.
Yeah.
And you just sparked that in me. I love that. Kodi, what advice do you give to this guy talking about he should he be more of a vocal top?
So I think you both gave really great advice, but a different perspective on it is maybe he's just not a vocal top. Maybe he's trying to force something that he is not going to ever be good at, unfortunately. I think that he should, I'm sure he's good at a lot of other things, but this might not be one of them. And I think that he should lean into his strengths and really, like Jeremy said, not try and force anything. So I don't know. Maybe he should try less to be a vocal top and eat a ass like nobody's business. I don't know.
Okay, I like that. I like that. We are here for you in 2025 for advice, whether it's relationship or sex. You know, you can always reach out to us. Go to tagspodcast.com via the site. We'll give our handles in a second, where you can reach out to us individually. Oh my gosh, this has been so great. Thank you
Definitely.
for ringing in
Definitely.
Thank you, bro.
2025. A little programming note: we are back with Tags Live, our live show that we do every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time here in America. And we really want you to join us. So we're live this Wednesday The best way to get the link is to go to TAGSPodcast.com and click on the link Tags Live. Looking forward to that. You can always follow my co-hosts. Follow Jeremy on the gram at J. Ross Lopez, at J. Ross Lopez. Follow Kodi at Mr. Maurice on the gram, at Mr. Maurice, which is also his Blue Sky account as well. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V, or at Blue Sky at Tags Podcast, as well as on Twitter at Tags Podcast, where you get a preview of my Just for Fans or Only Fans. I just posted some new content today and will continue, my promise. And by the way, you can get, for this particular week, 25% off your first month because of the year 2025. So take advantage of that. And in the meantime, continue having hot
gay sex.